Eros. Aphrodite, the sovereign of joy and everlasting smiles, is the queen of all the beauties seen on the face of the earth. She was also the mother of a winged beautiful child named Eros. Like his mother, Eros scattered life and joy throughout the world and regulated all forms of reproduction. With the scented breath of Zephyros, the essence of spring, he would spread his wings and travel everywhere during the season of roses. When one looked at the paths he passed, it was evident that colorful flowers bloomed. Similar to Aphrodite, Eros ignited the divine fire of love in the hearts of gods and humans, shaping their happiness or misfortune. He ruled over all hearts, giving them life in another realm. Whether he desired it or not, he could turn a beggar in a filthy hut into a king by striking his heart, or he could make a king destitute by closing his heart to love. Even wild animals in the mountains recognized his divine command and bowed to it. Frightening lions and fierce tigers often rushed towards his robe. Thanks to him, people experienced the pleasures of friendship, the joys of companionship, and their kindnesses. In Eros's hands, there was always a bow or a burning torch. Strangely, he took pleasure in mixing tears with relationships and poisoning happiness. Those familiar with the story of Psyche understand this truth better. The human soul owes both its joy and suffering to Eros, the god of love. The more one loves, the more one suffers, and love cannot exist without pain. There is a distinct spiritual pleasure in burning in the fires of great suffering, which accompanies genuine and profound loves. The love of Psyche and Eros. Psyche, the most beautiful of a king's 3 daughters, was so captivating that those who saw her thought they were witnessing Aphrodite herself and worshipped her. The sovereign of hearts, Aphrodite, envied the excessive love shown to a mortal girl and one day decided to take revenge. She called her son, Eros, and said, "Eros, my son, there are some things I need you to do. I am sure you will not shy away from helping me. Some shameless men compare my divine beauty with that of a mortal girl. Go, my child, wound the heart of that girl they consider equal to me in beauty, make her fall in love with the ugliest man in the world." Upon his mother's command, Eros descended from the mountain of the gods to the mortal realm. He found Psyche and, despite his intention to wound her heart with an arrow and make her fall in love with an ugly man, he was captivated by her beauty. Instead of shooting her heart with an arrow, he fell deeply in love with her. He took Psyche to a magical palace in the heart of a sleeping forest. The winged beautiful youth would enter this palace without revealing himself, meeting his lover and spending unforgettable moments together. The magical palace fulfilled every desire of his lover. However, Psyche could never see his sweet face in the light because he always came at night. One night, she requested Eros to show his face, and he replied, "Psyche, you will be happy as long as you keep the secret of our love in your heart. Do not think of seeing me, do not learn who I am or whose son I am. Love me blindly without knowing, without trying to learn the hidden things. Plunging into the fire of suffering by trying to discover them is worse than not knowing." However, Psyche's sisters, jealous of her happiness, found her one day. In the treasure-filled magical palace, they told her that the man who loved her so devotedly was the ugliest and most repulsive man in the world. They questioned why he kept her in a secluded place, hidden deep in the forests, and why he did not show his face when he came. They argued that even if he were the richest man in the world, being the wife of an ugly person was unfortunate. They claimed that happiness could be found with a handsome young man in a cottage, but being the wife of a man so ugly that his face could not be seen, even if he were the king of kings, was misfortune. If you want to believe what we say, hide a small lamp under a vase. When the man you worship as your husband comes to the palace and falls into a deep sleep, quietly take out the lamp, examine him, and then you will see who is with you. Unable to endure her curiosity, that evening, Psyche did as her sisters advised. She hid the burning lamp under an inverted vase. After lying down, she did not sleep but waited for her husband to fall asleep. When he did, She got up without making a sound, took the lamp, and looked at him. However, she was surprised by what she saw. Expecting to see an ugly and repulsive man, Psyche found herself face to face with a beautiful youth with fragrant, chestnut hair, a fresh face emitting amber scents with every breath, plump ivory-like shoulders connected to robust arms, one hand holding a bow, and the other, along with his arm, curved beneath his head. When she saw this beautiful and fresh youth, Psyche's love flared even more. She wanted to kiss her beautiful husband on the forehead, but as she bent down, she did not keep the lamp straight. A drop of the lamp's hot oil containing the wick fell onto Eros's bare shoulder. Poor Eros woke up with a start. Understanding his lover's mistake, he immediately spread his wings, flew away, and disappeared. With his departure, the magical palace he had created for Psyche was destroyed and vanished. The poor girl began to shed tears, and her suffering was so great that she could not bear it. She lifted herself and threw herself into a river. However, the waves carried her to the shore. Restless and with the hope of finding what she had lost again, from that day on, Psyche began to travel the entire world. Visiting countless places, wandering far and wide, and entering temples she came across, she begged the gods to return her husband to her. However, none of them wanted to reveal where Eros had gone. Finally, tired of wandering, Psyche knocked on the door of Aphrodite's palace. Seeing her pitiful and miserable state, the fair goddess nodded and, with a mocking smile, threw herself on her, tearing her clothes, pulling her hair, and leaving her pale face bruised with punches and slaps. She gave her boredom and sorrow as companions. Then, she turned her into a slave tasked with the most disgusting and coarse chores. Poor Psyche endured all these insults and pains without uttering a word, remaining loyal to her love. Finally, Eros's healed shoulder worked in her favor. To change the fate of her lover, who was so devoted to her, she went to Olympus. She knelt at the feet of Zeus, pleaded, begged for Psyche's rescue, and requested that she be given to him as a companion. Zeus accepted everything. He ordered Hermes to bring Psyche to Olympus and commanded her acceptance into the palace of the gods. While the gods in Zeus's palace drank fruit juice during their meeting, the inspiration fairies led by Apollo sang songs, the graces spread beautiful scents around, and even Aphrodite, in joy and excitement, danced to harmonious sounds. Eros was eternally bound to Psyche with the bonds of marriage.